If you're moving to North Texas with kids, moving into the wrong school district could completely change your child's entire experience. Most relocating families think Frisco ISD and Prosper ISD are pretty much the same thing, but they're definitely not. And one of them actually might be a better fit for your kid. And there's one major difference that no one talks about until after they've moved. If you're trying to decide between Prosper and Frisco ISD schools for your kids, today I'm breaking down the real differences of each of those school districts, not just rankings or test scores, but what it's actually like for families living here. And if you're a parent relocating here to North Texas with kids, this decision probably feels huge for you because you're moving your entire family into a new state. They may not know anyone and you're wondering, is my kid gonna make friends? Will they get opportunities? Will they thrive here? What's it actually gonna be like for them? And those questions matter way more than school ranking. Today, we're gonna answer one big question: which school district is actually better for your family? Now, just so you know what we're going over in this video, we're gonna be breaking down academics, school size, sports and activities, growth, community culture, and most importantly, which type of kid thrives in each district, because that's where a lot of families get it wrong. But first, let's talk about the biggest misconception people have about these two school districts. Most relocating families assume something like this: Prosper is the newer one, while Frisco is the elite school district. But the reality is, both of these school districts are really exceptional. Both currently have A ratings from the Texas Education Agency, and Prosper has over a 99% graduation rate, which is, 9% higher than the Texas average. But here's the part rankings don't show, is the experience inside each school is completely different. And that difference starts with something most parents don't even consider, and that's gonna be the school size. Let's talk about that school size, because it's really gonna dramatically change your child's experience in each school district. Now, Frisco ISD made a decision years ago that they weren't gonna build just a couple massive high schools. They were gonna have several smaller schools throughout the entire district. They built more schools with smaller enrollments. Most of their schools have around 2,000 students, which creates that smaller community feel. Teachers often know their students better, and the parents feel way more connected. There's a trade-off because smaller schools mean something else. A lot more competition. There's going to be fewer spots on the sports teams, leadership positions, clubs, programs, and anything else throughout the school. Now let's compare that to Prosper. Prosper schools are much, much larger, and at one time it was one of the biggest high schools here in Texas. And with Prosper being one of the largest, ironically, that really creates more opportunity for students there. Let me explain that, because when programs are larger, they have the ability to have more sports teams, more opportunities, and more participation options. So if your child wants to be involved in a lot of activities, sometimes Prosper can give them a little bit of an edge over Frisco. Now, let's discuss the actual school part and the academics of each school district. A lot of parents are gonna ask, hey, is one more competitive than the other as far as class rankings? And the answer to that is going to be yes. Frisco ISD tends to be a lot more academically competitive compared to Prosper, and there's a reason for that. Frisco's been one of the top and most highly sought after school districts for decades, which attracts those highly driven families into the Frisco ISD communities. And that changes the academic environment. When you have more high achieving students, that's gonna mean tougher class rankings, more AP competition, higher academic pressure for your kids. Now, that may be great. Your kid may thrive in that type of environment and others may not. Now, Prosper ISD is still academically excellent. Like we talked about, it is an A-rated school district still, but many parents describe it as slightly less pressure focused. For some kids, that difference can completely change their confidence and really help them enjoy school more and learn. Now, before we get deeper into this comparison, if you're relocating to North Texas and trying to figure out which cities are best for families, which school is best for your kid, and what home in each of those areas is going to be the perfect fit for you, your kids, and your commute time, reach out to me. Whether you're 9 days or 9 months out from making a move, my team and I have helped dozens of families relocate here to North Texas from all over and would love to help you make a smooth move. But let's jump right into what the growth of each of these districts look like. Now, both districts are growing. Prosper is growing at a much, much quicker rate than Frisco. And a big reason for that is just that Frisco is already a lot more built out and developed than Prosper as a whole, versus Prosper still has so many new construction communities going in and new homes that of course there's just more families and more room for families to move into Prosper compared to Frisco. Now, right now Prosper serves almost 30,000 students, but that number is going to continue to rise as more elementary schools and high schools and middle schools open with the growth in families moving here. And all that growth creates something families really love, and that's going to be new everything, new facilities, new technology, new classrooms. Many of the campuses look and feel like a small college, but it's not all positive with the growth. Sometimes it can mean something else, and that's going to be rezoning. Now, this one can be a big risk for you as a family moving here, really because sometimes boundaries shift as district grows, so your kids may get rezoned to a different school district, and you could move them here. They could make friends at this school, and then the next year they get rezoned for another school, and they kind of have to start all over. Now, not that that can't happen in Frisco, but with it being more established and more mature, there's a lot lower risk of that. So the boundaries tend to be a lot more stable in Frisco versus Prosper ISD. Now, overall, both schools are great, but there's going to be another big difference that you feel when you move into these communities. Now, both of these districts are great, but there's going to be another difference relocating families notice immediately in each city. And that's going to be how the community feels. Now, Frisco feels like a major city, and that's really because it is. Like, Frisco is booming, home to over 200,000 residents. You have Universal Studios going in, you've got PGA headquarters, you've got the Dallas Cowboys, the star there. You've got everything going on. It's super vibrant. You have shopping everywhere, people, restaurants, professional sports teams. Like I said, you also have the Frisco Rough Riders, which is a AAA baseball team. And you have a lot of major corporate headquarters here in Frisco. Now, Prosper, on the other hand, feels very different. I personally don't think it still has that super small town feel. Unless you compare it to Frisco, then it does feel like a small town. But Prosper is more in that medium stage of not a booming city, but not a small town like Salina, but it's getting to where it's going to be a lot like Frisco. You already have a lot of your shopping and dining and retail and strip malls there, already really growing and booming into the community. Now, one big advantage Prosper does have compared to Frisco is a lot of the new communities in Prosper do tend to have their own on-site elementary school. That's becoming super popular in a lot of the new communities. You also have a lot of community events in those neighborhoods, and you have a lot more space. There's a lot more open land there. Homes tend to be on a little bit larger lots, and depending on your lifestyle, one of these feels immediately right. Now, this next section may not pertain to you. This is going to be sports and extracurricular activities. If your kids aren't in sports, of course, this isn't going to be a decision maker for you, but as you can imagine, sports are super competitive in Texas, no matter what it is. Of course, Texas is known for its high school football, and both districts have excellent programs, but structure changes the experience. Frisco has more high schools, which spreads the athletes across several campuses, versus Prosper programs are a lot larger, and they have fewer high schools. Now, just to give you an idea, Prosper has 4 high schools, while Frisco has 12. So academically, Prosper may have better teams just because you have athletes spread across less school districts. So if that's something important to your kid, that could be a factor. And Prosper is also going to have a lot bigger games, right? Because there's less students spread across them. So they only have 4 high schools to choose from versus 12. So which district is better? And honestly, it's going to depend on what your needs are for you and your family. Both are great, they're just better for different families. Frisco ISD is great if you want those smaller schools, smaller class sizes, established infrastructure around the schools and neighborhoods and living, and less risk of a zoning change, along with a vibrant city environment. Now, Prosper ISD, on the other hand, is going to be great if you want newer schools with the newer technology, newer infrastructure, growing just neighborhoods and really city as a whole. Prosper is booming right now, and a little bit more of that community feel where it feels more interconnected. Prosper is going to check the box for you. Like I said, you can't make a bad decision. Both of these are some of the best school districts in all of Texas. So regardless, your kid's going to get a great education either way. It just depends what is their experience. If you're moving to North Texas and want help figuring out which school district may be better for you, which neighborhoods feed into the best schools, which community fits into your lifestyle, where other similar families have moved into, and of course, which neighborhoods and school districts are going to align with your daily commute. Reach out anytime. My team and I help families every week make this move here to North Texas, and be sure to subscribe. I post a new video every Friday at 6 p.m. breaking down all of these North Texas suburbs, school district comparisons, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that, and thank you for watching.